everybody. It's Kyle coming to you from my basement. Oh, yeah, it's been a little bit. I know it's only been a couple weeks, but it seems like a lot on this end. Yeah, so, yeah, lots of things have been going on. Lots of great things have been going on in my life. I just am finishing up with a 5-day weekend, which was pretty great. I took off the Friday before Memorial Day, and I took the day after Memorial Day off. So super crazy, nice long weekend there. Went and did a little bit of garage sailing and thrifting, stuff like that, but I'm not going to talk about that because that's the other podcast. So, but things are going good. I mean, you know, the whole reseller thing is going really great. I got no complaints, definitely there. Did get our first return deal, which, you know, this lady bought these shorts for her husband without telling him or talking to him about the style or anything, and went to give them to him, and he just did not like them. So she wants to return them. I was like, well, I mean, there's no returns, as you can see on my store. There's no returns, and you had to have seen that like 2 or 3 times. So I don't know what's going on here exactly. And I talked with her enough, and I cut her a break. I said, okay, you know, I'll let you return these. That I'll go for it. But the deal is, you got to pay to ship them back, number one. And number two, when I get them back, if they're in the same condition they were when I sent them to you, I will go ahead and refund you all except, you know, a couple dollars. Because, you know, shipping supplies, stuff like that, time, you know, taken to the post office, jazz like that. And she said, okay. So it's all contingent on how they look. We'll see how they look. And hopefully she's not trying to pull some scam and put some other shit in there or anything like that, because I'll definitely turn her in if she is. And that is something that happens. People do this. They buy things and then they turn around and say they want to return. And when they do, they send back horseshit or older, used, beat up stuff or whatever. But they're not sending back your original product. So hoping that's not this scenario. But if it is, I'll just have to report her to eBay. So, but that's beside the point. Again, that's for the reseller podcast. Sorry, guys. What's going on that's good in my life? Well, I mean, you know, school's almost over for this year. One more year of school for, you know, at least public school for my daughter. She'll be a senior. She is going around talking about how she's a senior now, because that's what they do after the other class graduates. So that's pretty cool. She's started working. She's doing the lifeguard thing again. Sometimes she'll be working outdoors at a local water park, and other times she'll be working at some of the city-run pools that are indoor at a couple different places. And she can work at those all throughout, you know, the winter as well. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, yeah, I mean, getting towards the end of the school year is great because, you know, we're less busy. A lot of things going on. My wife volunteers way too much. I know she loves doing it, and that's great. But with this business now and stuff and how we want to get it going, hopefully she'll kind of pull back a little bit on that and focus a little more on this, because I'm going to need some help because it's been busy. So we'll see. We'll see how that all goes. And then my son is trying to get into an apprenticeship program for electrician. And we're just kind of waiting on some news from that. And he's just kind of staying on them to see if there's anything else he can do, any information he can send them to get things, you know, moving. But it's kind of one of those things you get in there and then they kind of take people in order that are all of the same caliber. So who knows? Who knows when it'll happen or if it'll happen? It's hard to say. Hopefully so. All right. That's it. That's what's going on that's good in my life. You know, just enjoyed a lot of time with the wife this weekend. We really did have a great weekend. Our friend Booley came by and hung out with us a little bit. one night in the hot tub, and we just kind of chilled out and watched, well, lots of different stuff. We showed her some of our very favorite YouTube addictions that we have. But we also showed her, we got her into watching, she's been watching one of our shows that we watch quite a bit, The White Lotus. And she's getting ready to start the 3rd season, but she loves it. And she just started watching it again. She tried to watch it at first. It didn't really take. And so now she's getting back into it. She's watched the first 2 seasons, ready for that 3rd. So hopefully she can continue to enjoy that. She's also started up The Righteous Gemstones, which I've talked about a lot on here, and I absolutely love. So you guys know how we feel about that. But she wanted to watch an episode with us and just kind of see where we are with it and what's going on, with, the latest episode for us. And so we showed her a little bit. We also showed her the Baby Billy, the Teen Just Dance episode, Turn the Other Cheek. I got to put a link to that in the notes, man, because you guys have got to see that if you haven't already. So that's kind of funny. She got a kick out of that. And man, I mean, it's crazy. That show's crazy. I love it. So, but we're in season 3. There is a season 4, and that's the final season. We'll see how that goes. But we're kind of, watching them when we can and just enjoying it. We're also watching Shrinking. We haven't watched that in a little bit of a while. You know what? I need to talk about that when I talk about what I'm into watching. So, okay, so let's go right into what am I into right now. Well, let's see. In music, I mean, nothing really standing out as far as what I've been listening to lately. I kind of have been back on that older hard rock kick, listening to some of that stuff, listening to some of the Danzig and Misfits stuff that I love. And then, other than that, I have listened to that Tall Tales album a few times. That's the one with Tom York, with a guy named Mark Pritchard. It's kind of a I don't know how to explain it. You just kind of have to listen to it. It's interesting, but it's odd. So listen to that a little bit. Like I said, Misfits, Danzig. I've listened to some of the old rock that I used to really be into. Slick Rick, The Great Adventures of Slick Rick. Listened to that a few times. Really have been into that Van Halen 5150 album again, which is interesting. When I was younger and David Lee Roth left Van Halen or was kicked out or whatever happened, and this first album came out with Sammy Hagar, which is called 5150. It's got Why Can't This Be Love, and it's got other hits too, but that's the one that's the first hit that's the first single that hit. And I remember what a big deal it was. And I was actually headed over to Kansas City the day it came out to grab a copy for myself. Probably, I don't remember if I grabbed it on cassette or possibly CD. But it was funny because people heard at school that day that what I was getting ready to do, and I ended up having to take orders to go pick it up because it was probably 45, 50 minutes from the town I grew up in over to this North Kansas City area. There was an old mall there called Metro North Mall, and they had a music land inside. And I took orders, took people's money, went over and bought them, brought them back, met people up that night. They wanted to hear it that night. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I think the disconnect for Van Halen fans comes in around the idea of the whole ballad love song scenario that was going on during the mid to late 80s. It started out, there were a few groups that naturally kind of came out of the gate with ballad love songs, and they also did some hard rockers. And then there's bands who never did ballad love songs and were just hard rockers. That would be Van Halen before Sammy Hagar. Van Halen only did hard rockers, heavy stuff, some wacky stuff with David Lee Roth, but there was no real love songs or anything like that. And so when they came out with Sammy, who's great, um, they were different. I mean, there were some things that were the same. Like if you listen to that album, the song "Good Enough" is very much a Van Halen tune. Um, the song "Get Up," same thing. Uh, "Summer Nights" is somewhere in between those songs, and then "Best of Both Worlds" is a big one. That sounds a lot like an old Van Halen song, but like I said, "Why Can't This Be Love" was the first single, and it's a love song. "Dreams" is another one. It's not really a love song, but it's a kind of an emotional song that's not hard rocking. And then there's "Love Walks In," which is, I think, it's on the second side, but it's like maybe second or third to last song. But same thing. It's a love song. It's a ballad, kind of. So I think that's what turned off a lot of people who really loved Van Halen prior to that. And I would be included in that. I like this album a lot, but I love 1984. And I love the albums before that. Not all of them, but I definitely love the first and the second album quite a bit. And then 1984 was a big one. Of course, it hit. I was at perfect age for it. So it just really was a hard rock album from the 80s. So I think that's what turns people off from the whole Van Hagar, is what some people call it, deal. But to be honest with you, I don't think they were ever as big as they were when they were with Sammy Hagar. I think when Sammy Hagar took over the reins as the lead singer, he brought a whole different aspect to the band, and they became bigger than they could have dreamt of being before that. So that's my opinion on that. Some people may take some issue with that and not have the same attitude about it, but that's just my opinion. And look, what sells the most isn't always good. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that he brought them more success, definitely. So I've been listening to that album a lot, and like I said, it's kind of that mixture they had going on before they fully went over to a different style of music. But then the funny thing is, some of their later albums, the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge album, yes, take the first letter of each of those words, and that's what that means. But that album was a hard rocker, man. I mean, I remember when that came out, and it had Pound Cake. That was the big song on it. And I remember there's this guy I worked with I was back from college in the summers, and I would lifeguard and stuff and deliver pizza. I made enough money to pay for a lot of stuff in college. Can't really do that anymore. But I remember when that For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge album came out, and that Pound Cake song, when Eddie kind of plays the guitar at the beginning with a drill. He's got a drill up by the strings and making zzz, 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 this sound, and it was pretty slick. It was dynamic, and it was a hard rocking album too. But I remember there was a guy I worked with. He was in love with it. I liked it okay. I had actually kind of thrown in the towel on those guys before that, because even the album OU812 I wasn't really super crazy about, which is the second album after 5150 with Sammy Hagar. But yeah, by the point they came out with For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, I was like, I was really no longer on board. I think that was in the early 90s. And then they had an album called Balance, and then they fired Sammy Hagar. They had Van Halen 3, which was with a different lead singer, the former lead singer of Extreme. And actually, he's the lead singer again of Extreme. But yeah, More Than Words. Yeah, that Extreme. Even though that's not what they normally sounded like either. They're a pretty heavy duty band. I think it's Gary Sharon or something like that. But yeah, so when 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 they came out with that, I was completely off board. I've actually only listened to that Van Halen 3 album one time, and yeah, I don't really care for it. But you know, I mean, I recognize uh, the talent there, and I recognize he's actually a good lead singer. I had an album of theirs, Extreme 3, uh, which was three sides to every story. That I had that album, and I love that album, and I thought it was great. You know, Porno Graffiti, which is Extreme 2, that's the album that had like More Than Words on it. That's what kind of got him up there. And then Extreme 3 was kind of interesting. It's kind of a three-part story, basically. So that was pretty wild. And they actually have an album called Six that just came out a couple years ago, I think, 23 maybe. But yeah, I just wasn't listening to them. And then I know that they've had some albums since then. I think they had one when Wolfgang came to play for them after they got rid of what was his name, the bass guitarist. That's horrible. I can't remember his name. They got rid of him. He actually plays with Sammy Hagar. Sammy Hagar has a band now, and they play obviously at his Cabo Wabo restaurant bars. We went to the one in Cabo San Lucas in Mexico. It was pretty cool. Actually, this is probably the best food we had when we were down there, which is crazy because we stayed at a very expensive resort. But tequila, ugh, no, dude. Cabo Wabo tequila, no. And what's the other one? He was involved in another tequila. Sammy Hagar was with what's his name? Guy Fieri. They had one together, but it was only mezcal. But now they're doing tequila too, and I think he bought out Guy Fieri. But that stuff's pretty bad too. Not a big fan. Anyway, he in his bar, and he sells his CDs and stuff there that he's recorded. I think there's a gift shop. I think I got a shot glass from there, actually, double tall shot glass. And then I found one of his records or his CDs. I think it's Sammy and the Cabo Wabos or something like that. And yeah, it's not very good. But I picked it up like at a thrift store for $1 or less, you know. But yeah, so I know he still does that, and I know they actually had a song that he released recently, you know, to kind of honor Eddie Van Halen, because they did not separate on good terms. Sammy was definitely kicked the fuck up out of that group, and it was not a good scenario. But yeah, it's still, I mean, that was his best friend for quite a while, and he has a really nice song that he's written about him. So I'll see if I can put that in the notes too, at least a Spotify link for it. But that's what I've kind of been listening to, guys. I will tell you, we did also purchase tickets for John Baptiste. He is coming to Kansas City. I think it's in August, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Jean Baptiste plays America. Yes, the show is August 27th. So we're pretty excited to go see that one. My wife and I love him. Of course, it all started, our fascination with him was when he was the band leader and stuff on Late Show with Stephen Colbert. But since then, I've bought a couple of his records. I have one actually that's autographed by him. I bought a special version of his last album, and it has a thing inside it that's autographed. But anyway, yeah, so we're excited to go see him. But that's kind of where I'm in the world of music. I went on far too long about that. I've also been listening to the Return of the Living Dead soundtrack. I think that's probably what pushed me back into some Misfits and Danzig and stuff like that. I love the Cramps also, so that's pretty slick. But yeah, that's kind of where music is for me. What I've been watching, well, I've kind of explained that to you guys a little bit. There is a trailer for the new movie Nobody 2, which is a film with I believe it's Bob Odenkirk, if I remember correctly. But what a great movie! If you've never seen Nobody, I highly recommend you check it out, because it's a very fun show, and we really enjoyed it. The kids did too. We love that kind of John Wick style action, and that's definitely full of that. There's no two ways about it. And Riz is in it. Come on, man. And Doc Brown's in there too. So I mean, you just can't lose, really. But there is a sequel coming this summer, and it's coming out in mid-August, I believe. But he's taking his family on vacation. The situation comes up. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, go watch the first one. It came out about 4 years ago. 2021, and it's great. And I'm really, I'll quit saying and. I think Sharon Stone's in this new one. I think she's the bad guy. I could be wrong, though. Who else is in there I saw? Colin Hanks is in there. And then, Michael Ironside's in there, too. If you're not familiar with him, he's been around a while. Yeah, looking forward to that movie. Really, on the movie front, there's not a whole lot else that I'm excited about. We have been watching Andor, kind of stretching it out. Want it to last since this is it, really. But we're a little ways into that one. Like I said, watching The Righteous Gemstones, we love it. Watching Shrinking. There's just so many shows that we're kind of knee deep in that it's kind of hard to keep up with it, to be honest with you. We live in a golden age of entertainment, in that streaming is like crazy now. It's like the biggest thing in the world right now. And you can watch anything you want at any time for any reason. And nothing could stop you from it. It's pretty wild. And so when I think about that, it just kind of blows me away that's where we live. Let's see, other things that we've been watching. I mean, there's not a whole lot. I mean, there's some stuff I'm interested in, but nothing that's really come out lately, or I've seen a trailer for where I'm like, oh, I got to see that. I know my wife and I send each other trailers when we come across things, and I know there's some things we've talked about, but nothing really has stuck out to where I'm like, I got to see this. Oh yeah, I'll send you guys this link to this Sammy Hagar video where he kind of breaks down his relationship with Eddie, what happened, and then of course how he really feels about David Lee Roth, which I understand. I get it. He's not a fan, by the way. But yeah, that's about it, guys. That's all I can really think about as far as what I've been watching. Same old stuff, really. On the YouTube front, like what we did talk with our friend about when she was over, and we showed her a few things. There's a couple different things that we're really into watching. One of them, a big one, is Scote Outdoors. That's SKOTE Outdoors. And what that is a this guy's YouTube channel that he's had for quite a long time. He's been making videos for quite a long time. And he basically would go around the world. He did all kinds of different crazy survival stuff. And it's pretty wild. He's got, I'm looking at it right now. He's got 352,000 followers, which isn't gigantic, but I mean, hey, it's pretty cool. He has got, what else? Let's see here. He basically, what happened is he's done a bunch of different things. Yeah. He's been around about 5 years. He's been doing these videos. He's done a lot of things. Now what he has done is he has purchased an abandoned house on an island, up in Newfoundland. And he has bought this abandoned house. It's kind of fallen down. He's shored up the foundation of it and fixed up a few things inside, not much, just enough so that he can live in there. And he's in the process of building out a whole farm with livestock and all that good stuff on this island. And he's actually brought in a woman that he knew, that he had met when he was on some championship speed sheep shearing tour. No, I know. But yeah, he was part of this team that they shared sheep like super crazy fast, and but in a healthy manner or whatever. And this woman worked at this place that she was fresh out of college, I believe, and she saw him and she said she just knew she was in love with him. And he must have felt the same because he has asked her to come live with him on this island. They've actually gotten married um, in a local town there. And they're basically just building up the whole thing. Like I said, it's a off-grid island, basically is what they call it. And it is fantastic. If you are interested in watching people do things that are amazing and live life um, that you can only dream of, really, if you are into things like that, being off grid and providing for yourself and stuff like that, I highly recommend it. I mean, it is incredible. And he and her, I mean, they're just cute also to watch. They're fun to watch. But everything that they're doing, the amount of work they do every single day, crazy things like, for example, if they need wood, it's an hour. First of all, they have a little speedboat they have to take out into the Cape there and get on their big tugboat style boat to go to town, which is a good hour away by boat. And then they can buy some stuff there, but not everything. They want to go into a bigger town, it's another hour away. So instead of doing that, he mills his own lumber. It's crazy. He will cut a tree down on this island and mill that thing into 2x4s right there with his chainsaw where it fell. And it's just astounding to watch. I'm not doing it justice the way I'm explaining it. It's even more amazing than what I'm saying. So, and then he did come across another friend of his had an old mill that he made with a chainsaw. So you can basically snap your chainsaw in there, and then you can use this like a regular mill. So that he did go with some people, and they went across the pond a little bit there and went and picked this up piece by piece and brought it back. So he's got that now. She's into blacksmithing and stuff, and he is too a little bit. So they've built out a blacksmith shop. They've built these goat shelters and these chicken coop and a pig shelter and sheep shelter too. The goats and the sheep can live together. Pigs will have to be in their own thing. They've started bringing pigs in, which is cool. They're going to be bringing chickens too. But basically it's so they can provide for themselves, But they post these videos every week. It's really cool watching them, everything they're doing. And you get to feel like you know who they are. It's wild, man. I don't know if you've had that experience on YouTube. I have with a few resellers that I was fortunate enough to meet recently. But it's interesting. It's not like being starstruck, like if you go to meet a famous Hollywood actor or something. It's not like that, or a musician. That's a total different ball game. When I met Daryl Mack from Run DMC, I was shaken up. I was excited and happy, but it was really something else. It was a big deal for me. So it's not like that. I wouldn't say when you go to meet someone that you've been watching on YouTube for a long time, but it is somewhat similar. It's kind of an awkward feeling, more like they're a friend that you know. So a little bit different, but yeah, check that out. I'll put a link to Scout Outdoors in the notes. Actually, I'll put in the first one when he bought the house and he first shows up at the house, at the island and the house that he purchased. And you guys can take it from there because that's kind of how I got started. So it's, like I say, it's a trip. It's definitely not like anything else you've seen. I guarantee that. And then the other things we watch a lot of, I watch a lot of resale videos on YouTube as well. Lots of people some people I know that I've met through that event I went to, and some people that I do not know, but I still appreciate their information. So those are really the two primary things. I do watch Froggy Flips, who is a guy who's a big toy collector, and I mean, it's really fun to watch him. But yeah, I watch a lot of that too. Fascinating Horror, I watch that every week. That's basically just a short, video that describes some event that's happened in history, and it's pretty crazy. Steve, 1989 MRE Info, is a guy that I really like a lot. My wife and I both like to watch him too. And he eats rations. So he finds rations from various military all over the world, and including our own. And just to give you an idea of how old the rations are that he'll eat, I once saw him. He had some, they didn't call them crackers, they were biscuits, but they're like a cracker. He had a couple of those from the Civil War. They were rations from the Civil War. And he actually did eat that cracker. Wasn't very good. He has gotten sick from eating some of that stuff, so he doesn't eat things that are just stupid to try and eat. But not that eating a cracker from 1865 or before is a good idea. But yeah, he's really interesting. You got to check him out. He knows a lot about these MREs from all over the world. Like I said, I've seen him eat stuff from the UAE military, to the Mexican army, to Canadian, French, British, Russian. I mean, anywhere you can imagine in the world that has rations. Chinese, Thailand, like anywhere you can imagine. And it's always interesting, man. It's cool to see what these guys are eating out there in the field when they have to, So pretty neat. We watch a lot of him. I watch Brandon Tenold, which is a guy from Canada who does movie reviews that are comical about kind of bad sci-fi and horror films. And then probably my very favorite guy I watch is Fanboy Flicks. And that's a guy who does something very similar. He takes some of the weirdest movies ever made and he injects a little bit of comedy. And his are hilarious. And the other thing he does is he will put himself into whatever he's reviewing. He'll put himself into the film as a character by shooting himself on green screen, adding himself in later. And it is always the fucking best. A good buddy of mine, John, he watches him too faithfully. We both actually donate to his Patreon, and John's actually bought a t-shirt from him. So it's kind of, he's really loving him too. But anyway, I'm going to pause just for a second. All right, so, okay, that's about it on what I've been watching. Reading, nothing really. A little bit here and there. A couple comics, here and there. Nothing else. And gaming, nothing really. I'm interested in it. I just don't have time, man. I mean, that's the long and the short of it. I'll just leave it at that. And then podcasts, nothing new. I mean, I'm listening to the same ones I've told you guys about 100 times. And there is something new in Spotify, though, for creators, where I can actually put in links to things that I talk about as far as anything that's carried on Spotify. So podcasts, music, that kind of stuff. I can add that to this episode. So I'm going to do that for this episode so you guys can check this stuff out that I'm talking about. And then I'll put in links to the YouTube stuff I've been talking about, things like that. So that's all I got, guys. Next week, there'll be a new episode of Hawk Picks, the reselling podcast that I do. And yeah, I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. I appreciate you stopping by. Do me a favor, stay off my lawn. Wait a minute, I meant get off my lawn and then stay off my lawn.